What's good, YouTube family? We back with another video. We back in Philly. Last time we was in Philly, we watched the guy, FS the Bender. We watched him completely crash out and speak on every single crime that him and his block was doing in Catcherica. I don't know what's up with the Philly crashing out wave of things like the self-snitching epidemic. However, this old head right here, yeah, you guessed it. He catching bodies, crashing out. He probably never come home. All right, so I don't know the full story, but we about to see it together. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to MasoMoney. We're gonna go ahead and get straight into it.
On the ground. On the ground.
Get on the ground.
On the ground. On the ground.
Well, now to the conviction in a deadly double shooting that shocked residents in Olney.
Shows is that Josh arrives with an individual who's later identified as Sabir Bunch. The two of them arrive in Josh's black Cadillac Escalade.
That's a nice truck.
Sabir Bunch sticks out of the front passenger seat. He's armed with a firearm,
Oh, he got blicky on.
which he then tries to conceal either behind his, at certain points behind his back, underneath the shirt. Josh appears completely unaware. At some point later, the second victim, Paris Gary, arrives on a motorcycle, both of whom he was friends with. Paris Gary he had been friends with for like over 20 years.
20-year home?
The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office
Well, he
says it
smoked
was a
both his
jailhouse phone call that helped unravel Sabir
Philly
Bunch's
back there,
alibi,
too?
leading to
Oh,
a
they just
guilty
like Chicago.
verdict. Prosecutors say the convicted murderer was overheard in an unrelated jailhouse call, saying it was self-defense when he shot Joshua Chisholm and Paris Gary inside a home in August of 2023.
And you hear, you don't see it, but you hear gunshots.
He blowing his homies. He killing his homies, like shooting them down.
And then you see Josh running out the front door, down the steps, across, I think it's 3rd Street, up Champ Boss, where he eventually collapses.
Dang.
Now, the trio, who authorities say were all longtime friends, came across one another at Albert Einstein Hospital earlier in the day.
So he just shot both of his homies at the house? His 20-year friends? Like, they just pull up to the homie's house. He just shoot both of their ass? Oh, no, that nigga dangerous. Send his ass up the road. He too dangerous for me, bro.
They left
He
and
killed
went
his
back
20
to
years
his
homie.
house.
What you think he'd do to
Surveillance
somebody he
video
don't
shows
know?
Bunch concealing a weapon
Yeah.
before he shot them both inside. One of them managed to run out of the house with several gunshot wounds. Authorities
got
say they
holes all
still
in.
have no motive.
A wrist or a hand reach out with a medical bracelet on it and pulls the door closed. About 2 minutes later, you see from the rear of the property, Sabir Bunch comes out of the house.
You going to prison, bro.
He's hopping over
You're going up the
fences, the
road.
next door fence, where he then
Niggas
runs into
weird,
like a
bro.
common alley, and we lose him.
Niggas weird, bro.
They come to the front of the house. They see Sabir Bunch outside of the house, hiding behind some bushes on the step.
On the ground. On the ground. On the ground.
Get on the ground.
On the ground.
He needs to go up the road.
On the ground.
On December 23rd, 2025, Sabir Bunch was
felon.
convicted of a double homicide that happened on August 3rd, 2023,
What's wrong with this
in
nigga,
the
man?
Olney section of Philadelphia.
They had him in the
For
mental
the three
hospital.
men involved, that day started as a normal day in the life. Paris Gary, or Petey, was at Albert Einstein Hospital as Sabir Bunch was being released.
And they've been together all
CCTV
day.
footage captures the pair together, followed by Joshua Chisholm picking Sabir Bunch up and bringing him back to Sabir's home from the hospital.
So he got him out of the
Even
hospital.
though a lot of what followed was captured on home surveillance cameras, the actual shooting was not. By the end of the trial, this case still had some unanswered questions. Questions like what actually happened inside that house. Mainly, what sparked the incident that left two men
I mean, but he
dead.
had his gun out before he went in.
Although
He
it was
on
only a short 3 years ago, the world looked completely different in 2023. The news cycle was angered by major political shifts. On August 3rd, 2023, in particular, President Donald Trump made an appearance in federal court and pleaded not guilty for having attempted to overturn the results of the election through a plot in which pro-Trump slates of fake electors would be created. Overseas, tensions flared in West Africa as the U.S. Embassy in Niger began partial evacuations following a military coup. August 3rd, 2023 was a month before the October 7th attacks on the Jewish country of Israel that would change the world forever. Back in Philly on August 3rd, 2023, the day started with a relatively minor oil spill along the Delaware River, a more and more common occurrence these days. This was the second spill along the Delaware River that year, following the one in March. 2021, as I'm sure many of you know,
Bro, that shit was
Philadelphia
through the
hit the
ceiling.
record for murders in a year. 2022 saw a similar trend.
Y'all know why this was so high? Yep, the pandemic gave a bunch of niggas who should have never had no money. First thing these niggas went and did was bought switches and shot ops. Dumb shit. Talking about, did you see Instagram social media during the pandemic? I've seen niggas who never had $40 up in 20 bands. Them niggas ain't buy nothing but bullets. They bought some UAVs to hawk down the ops. That shit turned to a real life Warzone lobby. I know y'all remember the 2020 Warzone lobby. They was shooting and doing anything. It's like niggas forgot that. It's like the pandemic made people forget that life goes on after these couple years that this is happening. Like niggas just act like the feds didn't exist. Niggas just act like police wasn't a real thing. Like it was no statute. Like it's no statute limitation on murder. Niggas still just think, well, if the world ends, at least I caught my op lacking. What the? Bro, these niggas, they just had to go, bro. Like
It hit the record for murders in a year.
That's why these old
2022
dogs getting
saw a
locked up.
similar trend.
Them
In
Ricos only take a few
2023
years to
saw
build,
those numbers
maybe 4 or
slightly
5.
decrease, and the homicide number has gone down every year since.
Mm-hmm.
Sabir Bunch from 18th and Tioga was feared by some on the street because of his volatility.
Yeah, that nigga
He was
looked like
described
he
to me as a loose cannon.
Yeah, that nigga looked like
Some
he did it.
say he was missing a screw or two upstairs.
Yep,
He now sits at SCI Mahoney with only hopes of appealing his sentence if he is to ever see the light of day as a free man.
Yeah, nigga weird.
Sabir was born November 15th, 1998 in Philadelphia. As I said earlier, he's from North Philly, 18th and Erie. His juvenile records aren't available, but he started getting arrested as an adult immediately.
Damn.
12 days after his 18th birthday in November of 2014, he was arrested for robbery and did about a year before being paroled, and he's been on probation ever since. He was in and out of jail his entire adult life.
Oh no.
Gun possession here, probation violation there. In 2018, Sabir was once again arrested on gun possession, and even though he was on probation, he beat the gun charge.
Oh no.
It's unclear to me right now what happened with that case because, as it states in this article, his court records are no longer available. This small excerpt from the article talks about Sabir being one of 17 instances in which someone charged with a gun case in 2018 was later charged with homicide, murder, or attempted murder.
Yeah.
And this article is from way back in 2021. Detractors of Larry Krasner point to cases like this as their biggest problem with what they call his soft on crime approach. Krasner will argue that he has a smart on crime approach.
He changed that shit around.
Like every police department and district attorney's office in the country, Philly saw a big spike in all violent crimes during COVID. Also, like most places, Philly saw a dramatic drop post-COVID, despite the criticisms of Krasner and his policy.
Decreases.
However, to Krasner's critics, Sabir's 2023 double murder case is particularly egregious because not only was he charged in 2019 for a murder, which a witness and camera says he participated in, but he somehow beat that as well. In a legal motion I obtained, it talks about how on December 2nd, 2019, at around 6 p.m. near 17th and Pulaski, paramedics transported Sean Gunther to Temple University Hospital, where he was pronounced dead by 7:30 p.m. At the scene, recovered were 6 40 caliber fired shell casings and 4 380 caliber shells, indicating the presence of at least 2 shooters. Although the shooting was off camera, surveillance video captured Sabir Bunch walking toward the scene, wearing a dark colored jacket, dark pants, and dark boots, while Marquise Williams was recorded wearing a red, white, and blue jacket with a dark hoodie underneath and dark striped sweatpants. An individual outside an unmarked windowless barbershop featuring a black door at 17th and Pulaski told
Barbershop? What barbershop look like this? Nigga, that's the trap, bro. Stop playing with me, bro. That's the trap, bro. What you mean barbershop? Oh, that's how we explaining all them people coming in and out? Bro, what barbershop you going to in Philly that look like this? Nigga, I would have known I was going to get shot if I pulled up to a barbershop in Philadelphia looking like this. Nigga, I would have. I would have just prepared to die. The fuck?
Detectives
What the niggas be
that
talking
Sean
about, bro?
Gunther had just left after getting a haircut when the shots erupted.
Nah,
The investigation relied heavily on witness number 1, who heard the shots near 3700 Pulaski and identified Sabir Bunch firing a weapon. And then witness number 2, who says he saw Bunch and Williams fleeing south on Pulaski before turning east on Erie Avenue. Witness number 2 here became very important because he noted that Marquise Williams dropped his gun while running. He also noted that he saw him run past him, drop his gun, run back past him to get it, and then run back past him again. Video surveillance corroborated the timeline, capturing Sabir Bunch wearing the clothes described earlier, as well as Marquise Williams initially in the red, white, and blue jacket over the dark hoodie, which he then changed. They were never seen together on camera before the shooting. Footage shows Sabir arriving at the crime scene minutes before Marquise. Marquise is seen on camera walking from his car at Erie and Bouvier to the barbershop and back to his car before the shooting. Almost immediately after Sabir got to the barbershop, footage shows Marquise entering his silver or gray car, which was parked at 3700 North Bouvier Street, which was at 543, before changing his clothes and walking a path along Butler Street and Pulaski Avenue back to the place where they were calling a barbershop, before returning to the vehicle to swap his jacket for a dark-colored one at 548. Just minutes before the murder, he then walked back to the barbershop. Shots rang out seconds later. Immediately after the shooting, 2 men matching the descriptions were seen hurriedly fleeing east on Erie Avenue, south on 15th, east on Lenox, and then south across Broad Street from west to east. And finally, they went west on Venango. Search warrants for T-Mobile cell tower data confirmed that the phones belonged to both Williams and Bunch and were seen at the crime scene together during the murder. Following the investigation, homicide detectives obtained arrest warrants. Williams was arrested that same day and charged with murder, criminal conspiracy, and related firearms offenses, while Bunch was arrested 5 days later on July 29, 2020. The 2 men's cases, which of course were connected at first, were separated by Judge James DeLeon when a witness failed to appear. When both witnesses failed to appear for the second time on November 18th, Judge DeLeon held Samir Bunch for court but discharged Williams for lack of evidence. The Commonwealth refiled charges against Williams on December 19th, and he was held for court on all charges on March 17, 2021. Because they were held for court on different dates, the cases were separated.
Right.
If you like this type of content and want to see more of it, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and even share the vid with your folks.
I know y'all got me.
Don't forget
Like
to turn on
anyway.
notifications. It helps the channel more than you know.
Yep, do that for me.
Sabir Bunch's 2020 murder case went before Judge Diana Anhalt on October 27, 2021 for a
She
possible
looks
plea,
like she does a great job.
but negotiations
Send his ass up,
failed.
bro.
Both cases were eventually scheduled for separate trials on January 30th, 2023. Williams' defense counsel sought to sever the trials, arguing that admitting Bunch's phone conversation with the witness would violate Williams' Sixth Amendment right under the Breton Rule. Prosecution says that witness number 2 first talked to them at the crime scene. When asked to come in and make a formal statement, witness number 2 at first declined. Witness number 2 would eventually come in to make a statement to police. He, however, failed to ever show up at trial. During the course of the investigation, he told police that Sabir Bunch had called him and asked him if he told someone named Boom from the neighborhood about the murder. Bunch's case went before Judge Diana Anhalt on October 27, 2021 for a possible plea, but negotiations failed. Both cases were eventually scheduled for separate trials on January 30 of 2023. Williams' defense counsel sought to sever the trials, arguing that admitting Bunch's phone conversation with the witness would violate Williams' Sixth Amendment right under the Breton Rule. The Commonwealth argued that the conversation was a direct attempt to silence a key witness and was therefore admissible under the co-conspirator exception to the hearsay rule. The prosecution argued that any constitutional concerns could be remedied during a joint trial by simply redacting Williams' name from the statements and replacing it with a neutral term like the other guy. Marquise Williams pleaded guilty to third-degree murder, while Sabir Bunch ended up walking away. Now, obviously, we wouldn't be here if Sabir Bunch was convicted in that trial.
He's supposed to catch a different
And since he never had a trial, it goes without saying there's no paperwork to tell me why.
Right.
But I would have to guess it was because of the lack of evidence.
Right. He ain't
The
had nothing
state
to say.
would have had to prove that Sabir and Marquise both had guns and both fired shots.
But
They
they
can
didn't
draw
come
enough
together.
reasonable conclusions to prove that one of the two at least fired shots.
His
However,
homie
the
played it
Commonwealth's problems were stacking up in this case. 1, the weapons were never recovered. 2, neither eyewitness showed up for court, even though they had one witness
His
on
homie
audio
probably coulda beat
and
it too. He
video
got
record.
scared.
3, that witness ID'd both men, but could only positively ID one at the scene, Marquise Williams. Even though 2 sets of cartridges were found, any competent
Sabir was a
defense attorney can
smoother
successfully argue that there are other possibilities of who fired those other shots.
Okay.
The 5th problem that the state
Those two
had
different gunshots.
was that neither man was talking. I don't have enough information to know which shell casings Gunther was hit with, if not both of them. All the paperwork I could get talked about shells found at the scene and not the medical examiner's findings.
See.
Of course, this would all have come out at trial, but instead,
There was
Marquise
no
Williams
trial.
is doing 10 to 20 after pleading
He
guilty.
just played out for a
That would have
dub.
put Sabir Bunch back on the street after his probation
nigga look like he got
violation was
crazy.
sorted out. It wasn't long
hard
until we got
drugs.
to August 3rd,
He doing hard
2023.
drugs.
Video footage shows
Don't
Sabir
shoot.
Bunch in the hospital along with longtime friend Paris Gary. Joshua Chisholm drove to Albert Einstein Medical Center and brought Bunch back from the hospital to his crib on the 5900 block of North 3rd
Alright, he
Street,
backdoored him after
joined
picking
shortly
him up.
after by Paris Gary. At the house, video shows Sabir Bunch exiting Joshua Chisholm's car, armed with a gun, which he is attempting to hide. Not very well, if I might add. Shortly after both enter the house, video footage shows Paris Gary pulling up to the home on a motorcycle. Around 7:30 p.m., the sound of gunshots could be heard.
He shot his
Joshua
homies down,
Chisholm
too. Like, his
runs
homie
out of
tried
the
to run,
house
he
and
blowing
collapses
back
on
at
the
him again,
ground
making sure
across
he
the
go.
street. Video later
Damn.
captures Sabir exiting the back of the house, hopping over fences, and fleeing from the area. About an hour and a half later, police responded to a call for a burglary at 428 West Spencer
He
Street,
breaking
which was
in
about
and
2
shit.
blocks away. The complainant told PPD that a man kicked in the back door of her property and then fled out
He
the front
kicking
door.
those?
Officers located Bunch shirtless and hiding behind bushes outside of the property. Bunch's clothing was recovered and later tested positive for gunshot residue, along with other relevant evidence.
Yep.
At trial, Sabir tried to say it wasn't him on video and that he was not at his own home.
Bro, why every single picture we see of this nigga, he just look crazier and crazier and crazier, gang? Like someone had to lock his ass. Look at this nigga. Boy, I seen this nigga on the streets. I ain't no bitch. If I seen this nigga in the streets, I'd be trying so hard not to make eye contact with his ass. Oh, shit. It's one of those outside. I don't got time for his nonsense. I'm trying. I ain't even gonna play crazy. His ass really crazy.
That night, a defense that was wildly silly. As you saw with Marquise Williams earlier, if a witness or camera sees you with a gun minutes before or after the killing, like the witness saw Marquise with earlier and like the camera saw Sabir with here, that would sway 90% of juries. In the Sean Gunther case, the witness saw Marquise Williams drop and pick up the gun. In the Josh and Paris murders, cameras catch Sabir with the gun. But
Right.
the media says that prosecutors told them that it was a jail call that helped unravel Sabir Bunch's alibi, leading to a guilty verdict.
He told
Sabir
him
was
jail.
overheard on an unrelated jail call saying it was self-defense when he shot Joshua Chisholm and Paris P.D. Gary in 2023.
My bad, Savage.
The families
He
of
definitely
Paris
killed him.
Gary
I don't
and
want no
Joshua
problem.
Chisholm have been left fractured and heartbroken. A mother having to bury her son
Terrible.
once again, and black mothers in
Having
this
to bury
country
her son.
feel that pain disproportionately.
You gotta watch
He
who
was the
keep
life of the
around you,
party,
y'all. You think they
Paris's
your
mom
friend, they
Denise
kill you.
explained, recalling his humor and love
Watch
for
who you call your
karaoke,
homie.
especially Tevin Campbell's Can We Talk. He could sing old school R&B for hours, she said, making it now difficult for her to attend family gatherings.
Wow.
Paris was my go-to. When I
Lost her
need
baby.
something, he was there. Like if my car break down, son, I broke down, Mom, where you at? If I need something put together, son, I need this, where you at? He wasn't a perfect kid. He wasn't a perfect kid, but his goodness will always outweigh his bad. I prepared myself for my son murder. But once he got his life together, I let my guard down. Oh, he fine. God got him. When they told me, and until now, it's disbelief. I know he's gone, but I don't believe.
Wow.
I don't believe that he's gone. It's hard. It's hard, but I try to keep his memory alive through just speaking on his life and with his kids.
He had a
They
bunch of
give
kids
me
out her too.
him.
Crazy.
Josh's mom, Diana, described her son as a remarkable individual who was an exemplary father, son, brother, and friend.
And so
Sabir Bunch was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences plus a consecutive 19.5 to 39 years incarceration by Judge Roxanne Covington. Sabir sits in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania at SCI Mahoney, a state institution where he will spend the rest of his life, barring a successful appeal. I know, I got to upload more, but
well, we don't like that. All right, I think he's just talking. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, it's more.
for the rest of the year on this. For now, thanks for watching.
Around 4th and Champlain.
All right, yeah, so they just breaking down a little bit more of this, but that guy's crazy. Mr. Bunch ass needed everything that came to him. He got acquitted for one body. He wasn't going to stop being a menace to his community until he got sent up the road. I think that a lot of these people lose sight of the fact that you living so wrong that once you get caught this one time, we all want you off the streets. You just terrorizing your community for what? Your own satisfaction? For your block that don't love you? I know. He don't got no money on his books. His best meal could be a ramen noodle dinner. Chasing death. All right, I'm MasoMoney. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to this channel and watch another video. I'll see y'all in the next one, man.